back to this channel, co-creators. It is mysticrainn, your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor. And today we are going to be talking about the Great Divide.
Before we jump into this video, we have a quick word from Nail Addict LA. Nail Addict LA is a vegan, cruelty-free gel polish company perfect for any nail enthusiast. Use code RAINN for 45% off any 2 gel nail polishes. If you are interested in trying out any of these beginner-free gel nail polishes, use code RAINN for 45% off or click the link in the description box below. Now back to the video.
So look, we need to talk about the Great Divide, okay? You all, I'm sure of it, have been hearing about this whole shift in consciousness for a while now, in a conversation that really kind of peaked itself at the end of last year when we had that whole big sort of Jupiter and Saturn conjunct in Aquarius thing, right? And so, and if you didn't, I have a video on that somewhere, so just, I'll find it and link it. So ever since then, the conversation on the sort of consciousness changing happens a lot. The raise in consciousness, the shift in the frequency, the shift in the energy, the vibrations, yada, 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 so on and so forth. So because you guys now have an awareness of what that means, we now need to talk about the Great Divide. So I had this beautiful download and I was like, oh my God, I got to share in terms of what's happening and where we are at in that phase and in that process of doing things, right? So where we're at in the shift in consciousness is that we're now moving into the Great Divide period. So the collective has started to split, and it has like recently started, but you will really start to feel it in October. So I'm privy to it. It's the beginning stages of it, right? But I'm privy to the shift in terms of the split has already like functioning. Like if you can visualize like a severing of whatever you want to sever, that sever has already happened. It's already taken place. You will really start to feel that energy in around October. But for a lot of you intuitives, you would have felt something happen. Like you would have felt a shift, but you wouldn't have necessarily had maybe the vocabulary words to explain to somebody like what that actually meant. Did I spit? I spit everywhere. So look, the collective has started to split. You'll notice it in October. And so what this really is splitting into sides is really what this is, right? So you have the side of the people that are choosing to operate from a more love frequency, the people that are choosing to operate in a place of fairness, people that are currently in a place of struggling really hard to find their truth. And I mean struggling when I say struggling, because the journey of spirituality is the journey of self. And that journey oftentimes sucks. Like there's a really awesome part of that journey, but spirituality is hard. People call it a spiritual warrior for a reason. You are not a warrior unless you're going to war. There's a reason why things are termed the way they're termed. And a lot of times that spiritual journey can be a little bit rough when you don't necessarily understand what it is that is happening to you. So you have people who have said, you know what, I want to be a better person. How do I make myself better every day? How do I improve my situation? How do I improve the situations for the people around me? How do I ascend? How do I elevate? How do I increase my frequency? How do I increase the frequency of things that are around me? How do I do that? How do I heal? How do I learn? How do I grow? How do I do that? And how do I focus on that? Those people are going one way. And then you have the other people who are still stuck in sort of that old paradigm and that old world and that old consciousness and that old way of thinking, right? All those people that are still stuck in a past that are refusing to move forward with the shift and be a part of that shift are on one side. And what's going to happen is it's going to require that people choose a side. So here's where things are going to get dicey. A lot of the people are going to be choosing sides and the social groups and structures that already exist within their life. This means that a lot of you are going to notice that you're going to have to pick sides that involve your family and that involve your friends. You are going to be picking sides that are going to be different from the people that are around you and the people that love you. But I want you to understand that, again, in order to be a spiritual warrior, that requires that you go to war. And war is not easy. And for a lot of you, a lot of the journey is going to be alone. Part of the journey is going to be with self, because how do you learn self without having time to self, right? Like, there are parts of this journey that is going to require you to be alone for a little bit. But with being alone, you're going to start to find your tribe and like-minded people, and you're going to find people that have picked that side. You're going to see this happen in a lot of places. You're going to see this happening in your friend structures, where all of a sudden you're going to start to feel like you've outgrown your friend. Maybe your friend is going to say that they've outgrown you. Some people are going to notice it in the romantic relationships. You're going to feel like you've outgrown that partner, or you have outgrown that partnership. Some of you are going to feel like if that person doesn't change, that even though you love them, you may not be able to continue to be with them. That's going to be a very large theme. Some of you are going to see it in your place of employment, where, you're like, hey, I really appreciate this opportunity, but I really want to work in a space where we're contributing to change, where we are making a difference. And I don't see that happening in this place. And because of that, I no longer resonate with being here. You're going to see it in areas of your life that are quite personal to you, where you're going to have to make a decision and you're going to have to pick a side. And you're going to watch people around you start to pick their sides, where they're going to go one way or the other, and they're going to have hard times with it. But you're really going to be seeing people choose options that are going to determine which way they go in life. And what it really is people choosing a side in terms of the collective consciousness and what that means for them, and how they're going to be a part of the new consciousness level, or if they want to remain in the old consciousness level. And you're going to see a lot of that begin to play out. So with this, there's going to be a lot of questions that you're going to be dealing with in terms of who are you. You're going to be just having lots of existential moments of like, who am I? What am I? What do I want to be? What does that mean? If they say all is one and we are all and everything is one, how am I one? If they say I'm all powerful, then what does that mean? People say that I'm stardust and I'm made from the cosmos, but what does that mean? How do I harness that? How do I harness my power? Where do I get my willpower? Like, you're going to have all of these existential questions of who am I? What I want you guys to remember in this moment is that you are consciousness materialized. At the end of the day, you are the manifestation of consciousness, and that's it, right? That makes you powerful. What you are not is just a student, or just a mom, or just a wife, or just a waitress, or just a teacher. You guys are so much more than that. And so while you are in these existential moments, allow yourself to be in a place where you allow yourself to dream big, because we are moving into that frequency. And as we move into that frequency, use that higher frequency in order to help yourself manifest all the things that you actually want in your life, and what it is that you feel like you want to be, how you want to express your energy to the world, because that's what it is. When it comes to who am I, it's how you want to express your energy in the world. But you're going to find yourself having a lot of those issues. Do I still want to be in this relationship? Do I still want to have this job? Do I still want to live in this house? Do I still want to live in this city? Do I want to move to a different country? You're going to have all these questions, right? You're going to have this really huge existential moment, but this is very much a product of what is the sort of great divide, the divide in consciousness. Use this time of chaos to get in touch. So chaos is a really important word here, because that's how it's going to feel. It's going to feel chaotic, because there's so much energy right now swirling around in the ethers that it creates chaos, right? What it is energy shifting, frequency going up, while some people holding on to lower frequencies. You having the ability now to perceive different frequencies, which is probably why for a lot of you it's probably not very fun right now, right? Because you're perceiving a lot of things that you didn't necessarily perceive before. And so right now it's a little chaotic. And what's happening is, because so many people are activating and so many people are waking up, everyone is starting to perceive it at the same time, but nobody has the vocab words, right? Which means no one has the ability to say it to somebody else. No one has the ability to go, this is exactly what I'm feeling. So all people know is that they're feeling so deeply, but they don't know how to express it to anybody else. They can't express they can't get rid of it, right? They can't get rid of those emotions. So it's sitting with them, and they don't know if they're going crazy or if they're perceiving things that aren't true, or if they're making things up in their own mind and they're having a hard time. But this is part of the whole thing, and it's going to create some chaos. But like, use that time to get in touch with who you are, but then also how far from where it is that you wish to be. Where did you want to go in the first place, right? Maybe get back in touch. Maybe you need this time to reevaluate all those childhood dreams that you had and where you left them along the way when you hit your adult journey. So as we split, things are going to be a lot more tumultuous, right? You're going to see a lot more fighting, a lot more arguing, a lot more conflict. There's going to be a lot of fighting within family, where people in the family are going to try to maintain the status quo, trying to maintain what they're going to call tradition, and people wanting to do it the new way. And truth be told, the new way isn't necessarily new. It's just a way that's more in alignment with the consciousness. But people that are unfamiliar with this is going to term it as being something that's new. You're doing things a new way. I've never seen you do that before. Why are you trying to do that? So that's going to be a thing that you're going to be noticing. And you're also going to be noticing you're going to be growing distant from friends. Now, this may not necessarily mean that both of you have outgrown the friendship. This could simply mean that both of you are in a sort of incubation period, a state of hibernation, where both of you are adjusting to the new frequencies, and you may just need some quiet time in order to do that. And that may put some distance in between you for a while both of you guys have the ability and the space in order to sort of match that new frequency, sort of ascend, so to speak, or to come to terms with what's happening in life, because there's going to be a lot of newness that's going to happen for all of you, and some of that is going to require some quiet time in order to process everything that's going on. And then you're also going to notice that you're going to be questioning random people's ethics and moral code and their moral character. So people around you, all of a sudden people are going to start saying things, and you're going to be like, what the hell? Like, why are they like that? Or why do they think that way? Why are they so bigoted? Why are they so ignorant? You're going to start feeling like people are a little bit more ignorant, right? Now, I don't think it's because people are more ignorant. I think what's going to happen is that you're going to be in a state of heightened awareness. So you're going to be aware of things that you may have not really been aware of before. And so it's going to feel like all of a sudden people are being extra ignorant. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. You're also going to start seeing this manifest itself in the form of a lot more protests and a lot of more civil unrest, because again, people are dividing, and so people are picking sides, right? And it is a place where you're going to have to pick a side. You're going to have to pick a side of, like, what side of the spectrum do I want to be on? It's more than just people saying, I want to be on the right side of history, right? It's like, you now have to be on the right side of the collective journey, right? And like, that's a little bit different. And so, people's ways of manifesting that and doing that in their personal life will be through what we see as civil unrest, mainly protesting and different things like that, talking about different social issues, things that are unfair, things that are unjust, people challenging politicians, challenging world leaders, trying to make them answer for their crimes, their injustice, different things like that. You're going to see a lot more of that. And you're going to see a lot more sort of open and distrust towards governments and government officials. And you're going to see kind of this campaign and the media going back and forth with that too. So like, oh, people don't trust us because it's this prime minister, right? And so what's going to happen, the media is going to frame it as, oh, this prime minister did such and such. That's why people don't trust us. Whereas in essence is that people don't trust the government as an institution, not necessarily that they don't trust one individual person, but because governments are institutions, because media outlets are institutions, and they work with the status quo, they are going to try to dismantle the status quo without realizing that people are really just trying to dismantle the system. And the system has many status quos in it, right? So people are going to be looking at it from like this wider perspective of like, no, we don't trust the system. And right now, the entirety of the government and every part of the government is what represents the system that we don't trust. But media outlets are going to start flipping that and making it seem like people don't trust the leader, like one particular leader, which people may not, right? But at the end of the day, it's not about that one particular person. But you're going to see in the media people like really kind of blaming one particular person for this. And then this is also too going to lead to things like increased surveillance and stuff. Because remember, this is the Great Divide. Things are splitting, right? So as your sort of structured systems, the powers that be, start to feel or sense that they're losing control because the citizens, the masses, the consciousness is starting to split from that. The consciousness is no longer resonating with that or agreeing with any of those structures anymore. This system is going to try to implement more policies or rules to control the very thing, the consciousness that it senses is leaving, right? And so in order to do that, you're going to see things like revved up surveillance, revved up censorship, right? At all ways of watching people, watching what they're doing, watching people that congregate, watching large groups, but also censoring what things that may be said. Things that may be said on the internet, censoring a lot of YouTubers. That's going to be a thing, by the way. You're going to hear a lot of YouTubers start complaining about their videos getting taken down, about YouTube censoring them, yada, 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 so on and so forth. It's not going to be a YouTube thing specifically, like only YouTube is doing it. It's going to be like all the platforms. It's going to be a thing. It's not a YouTube thing. It's a thing. You'll just start to notice pieces of it happen in the YouTube community if you're someone that's big on YouTube. You're also going into a phase where you're going to be hyper emotional and highly reactive to things. The emotional thing is because you are going to have the ability to feel things. For those of you that were not previously empaths, congratulations, a lot of you are going to start becoming empaths. You're going to have the ability to feel. And when the energy around you is constantly in a state of chaos, and it has to be because it's splitting, right? And again, you'll really start to feel this heavily in October. So whenever you start to watch this, I'm talking about October of 2021. I don't know when you're going to stumble across this video, but that's going to be the time you're really going to start to sense it. But because all of this energy is in chaos and it's all kind of rumbling around and it hasn't settled, it's going to make people a lot more emotional, right? And because they're feeling more emotional, right? Because what's emotion? Emotion is energy in motion. It's the outward expression of our feelings, right? That's going to make people highly reactive. So people are going to get upset and they're going to start popping off. Maybe they're going to want to physically fight someone, whatever. You're just going to notice the collective is more reactive to you. People that have pets are going to notice that your pets are going to be more reactive to you. So anyone that has an animal that's a little sassy, likes to talk back. For people that are not animal people, cats and dogs do talk back. If you didn't know, they do that. They gruff, they huff, they roll their eyes, they have attitudes from time to time. Anyone that has animals or pets will notice that even your furry one will get a little bit of an attitude here and there and like gruff at you or roll their eyes or whatever, because it's in the collective, right? And animals are a part of that collective consciousness. You'll see it there too. So as consciousness splits and one side rises in frequency, the earth has to readjust because the earth is meant to sustain what's on it, right? It's all energy, right? All energy works together. If the frequency of a large part of its energetic source is rising higher than the frequency of the planet itself, the planet has to recalibrate in order to match that new frequency in order to support that life. Because if your frequency goes so high that it's no longer a match for the lower frequency of the planet, then you can't survive here anymore. So all things have to be an energetic match. And so this will show itself in a few ways. People that are not matching the energetic frequency of the rising frequency of the earth will have a harder time. They will be more reactive than people that are choosing to rise, right? They'll be way more reactive because they're combustible, right? It's volatile now, right? So you're this energy that's low and then everything around you is high, right? So you're trying to be at a place of high energy that's not really where you're supposed to be, because you're supposed to be down here, right? Like this is your equilibrium. Yet you're trying really hard to like match this, but you're supposed to be down here. These people are going to be way more reactive. So if you think of like what we now call a Karen, you'll see a lot more situations like that. And then going back to the earth and how the planet is dealing with this, the planet has to readjust. And so you will see the planet doing what it has to do to readjust. a lot more seismic activities. The plates will start to rotate, they'll start to crack, they'll start to move around, because the planet literally is moving around and reshifting in order to accommodate the rise in the frequency. So a lot more seismic activity, a lot more earthquakes, a lot more tsunamis, a lot more fires, right? You're going to see a lot of that starting to happen, and you're going to see it in places where it's not supposed to. The ground is going to move in areas that the ground is not supposed to move in, right? Volcanoes are going to erupt that they're not supposed to be erupting. You're going to start hearing stories about, oh, it was dormant, and then all of a sudden it woke up, right? And now it's spewing out ash or whatever. A lot of sort of geyser activities, really active hot springs, stuff like that, because the Earth is recalibrating as the collective on the Earth recalibrates too. So during this period, you're going to have a lot of existential moments, and you're constantly going to be asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And you're going to have really high highs where, like, you have answered that question and it makes sense to you, and you know who you are, or who you want to be. Maybe you created a plan, or where you feel like you're going, or whatever. And then as you rise in frequency again, because when you rise in frequency, it's not just one step. It's not one flight of stairs. You're constantly going up a flight of stairs. So you go up one flight of stairs, maybe you're a little bit winded, you're out of breath, you figure it out, you stand there for a minute, you catch your breath, right? That's you having your existential moment, figuring out who you are, what you want to be, figuring out a plan on how to get there. And then after that, you go, okay, time to climb this next flight of stairs. Now you're out of breath again, right? That's your existential moment, right? You wait there to catch your breath. This is you again. Who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I make a plan in order to get there? And then you go up your next flight of stairs. That's kind of what happens when you shift frequency. You shift frequency, you adjust, you shift again. And so as you're adjusting in the frequency, a lot of you are going to be more tired. This great divide is going to make you tired. You're going to have periods of just low energy and low exhaustion, right? And then you're going to have highs. And you got it all back. All of a sudden it's peaked. You got all this energy. You want to do all these things, right? That's after you caught your breath from climbing a flight of stairs, is really what it is. And then when you're ready, when your body has equaled itself out and it's ready to go up another shift or another step in consciousness or frequency level, then you will go through that process again, because that's what it is. Your body adjusts, right? So when you go through these frequency shifts, it's not just consciousness evolving. Your body has to be able to maintain the new consciousness. So your body has to evolve too in order to hold the higher levels of energy. And so what happens is you go through what I call a psychic flu, where you're a little tired, maybe a little bit sore, stuff like that, and you don't have a reason for why you should be. A lot of the times you can be energetically sick, is what I like to say, as your body readjusts to the new frequency level that you're at. A lot of you guys, as you adjust, will also start to notice new symptoms as feeling tingly in across the body, similar to how maybe your foot feels when it falls asleep. Your body will go a little bit tingly. You'll have that ringing in the ear where you go, oh, I think my frequency went up. It'll be a feeling of highness, of floating almost. You'll start to experience different things like that. Now, for most of you, most of the stuff will start to kick in around October. But it's already starting to happen. There's already a split. And now that I've let you know this, a lot of you probably will start looking at people around you and being like, okay, like that's what she's talking about. I'm starting to see that. So that's the great divide. As I get more downloads on what this means, because a lot of this information gets downloaded and then I come back and I tell you guys like what I received, I'll be making more videos over time about like what you guys can be looking out for, what you guys can be anticipating. But really what I want you guys to say is, I need you to hold on for me. I know that this is probably going to be a message that I see myself saying this often, like, hold on for me, because there's a part of spirituality that people don't talk about, which sucks. There's a part of spirituality that hurts a little bit. There's a part of spirituality that requires the numerous amount of band-aids, because it requires a lot of bumps and bruises in order to get there, right? You don't get called a spiritual warrior and then sit on your ass. In order to be a spiritual warrior, you have to go to war, and sometimes it feels like it. So I need you to hold on for me. You're not going crazy. You're just ascending, okay? The collective consciousness is just raising, and because of that, because it's hard, and a lot of you watching this will know what I mean when I say some of that's hard, people will not make it. There will be people that don't make it to the other side. There will be people that won't make it through the shift. Even people that want to pick that side won't necessarily make it, right? Because they won't have the ability to hold on. They'll crack. And what's happening is these people are being weeded out. The people that are strong enough in order to sit on a side of elevated consciousness are going through trials and tribulation, and they're being tested, because in order to elevate in consciousness, you must evolve. It's part of the evolution journey. It's part of the soul evolution journey. And that means that there are lessons that you must learn, and some of those lessons may hurt a little bit. So what I need you guys to do more than anything is just to hold on. Just hold on for me, okay? Because it's going to feel hard, and I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to feel hard. Some of this will be miraculous and it will be magical, but some of this will suck. And when you are in those really sucky periods, you forget about the magical periods. You forget about all the miraculous things that happen to you. When you are in that really sucky period, and that moment, the only thing you can see is darkness. And so when you are in that place, if you ever get there, and of course, I genuinely hope that you don't, but we're all human, and all of us are subjected to parts of the same journey. None of us are special when it comes to this. You probably will have those moments. And when you are in that moment, I just need you guys to hold on just a little bit longer. So I'm going to wrap up this video. Before I let you go, make sure you check out the links in the description box below. If you like what you see, please subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and I will see you all soon.